Hello and welcome to our West Coast Today podcast with me, Kathy Griffiths.
Me, Sandy Neal.
Me, Owen Wild.
Me, Matt Young.
And me, Fiona Scott.
Sit tight for a taste of just some of the headlines we have for you in the Oban Times and Lochaber Times this week, as well as on www.westcoasttoday.co.uk. You'll remember from a story we published about 15 months ago that the Oban area was being asked to have its say about a new community pharmacy opening up in what used to be the smaller Butes on Sorrowber Road, close to the Lawn Medical Centre. Well, it appears after huge public support, Boots and another Chemists chain in George Street both objected to it happening and then went on to appeal after it was approved by an NHS panel. Their appeals were upheld and meanwhile Oban has had to endure more of a painful wait to see if it will ever get the third community pharmacy it says it wants. D-Day, Decision Day, is April the 1st when the panel meets again, so watch this space. I also bring news of a new community-led project inviting people across the Oban area to help map, celebrate and protect the area's everyday nature. Find out how you can get involved in that by reading our story in print and online. And two big shout-outs this week for the wonderful Jill and Ian McLean, mum and dad of Oban's one, or should I say 2 in a million twins, who along with friends took on a 5k challenge and raised more than £5,000 for Down Syndrome Scotland. Also, well done to Kilcrennan's Jack Grant, who's just organised his 5th community clean-up. Good on you all. Sandy, what have you got for us this week?
Thank you very much, Kathy. Well, irate islanders are voting to stop Argyll and Bute Council installing traffic lights on the historic bridge over the Atlantic, a beauty spot which connects the mainland to the Isles of Seal, Ling and Easdale. Political switches continue in Argyll and Bute Council, with Oban councillor Luna Martin joining the SNP, leaving Kilmorey Castle without a single Green. And Councillor Amanda Hampsey has been unveiled as Reform's candidate for Argyll and Bute, just as her Tory campaign leaflets hit constituents' doorsteps. And finally from me, the team behind Restore in Oban will put on their second community fashion show on April the 2nd. Celebrating second-hand clothes and sustainability, organisers promise it will be a great night of entertainment. After last year's sellout show, this year it is being held in the Corran Halls.
Thanks, Sandy. Owen, over to you.
Thank you, Kathy. Well, I'll just start by saying the Restore Fashion Show was great to be at last year. They've got some really good stuff, so make sure to go along. Well, I'm starting off with some sad news for savvy shoppers. Oban's factory shop has announced its closure date, which is coming in just a few days. Well, in more news, Argyll and Bute Council has decided on a solution for the rockfall at Gribun, choosing to scale the cliff at a cost of £500,000. Thankfully, for the taxpayer's wallet, the multi-million-pound options were passed up. The road on Mull has been closed since summer and will continue to be shut for the next 6 months to a year while work is carried out. And finally from me, Mull campaigners have once again travelled to the Scottish Parliament, this time to meet with Education Secretary Jenny Gilruth. The Cabinet Secretary heard from campaigners about the issues with the funding scheme which is financing the campus project, and about the human rights failures they say the project presents. Gilruth is endeavouring to reply to the group with a path forward by the time Parliament dissolves for the May elections.
Thanks, Owen. Matt, what's your news this week?
Thank you, Kathy. Well, it's been a real mixed bag of stories for me this week, starting off with a lovely community event at the Rockfield Centre where people gathered to enjoy a meal cooked by 2 Ukrainian women who have settled here following the conflict back at home. Attendees were also treated to an exclusive viewing of An Argyll and Bute Welcome, a film which celebrates refugee resettlement in the region. If you missed out, keep an eye because there are plans for viewings around the country for the rest of the year. Now, after my very own ScotRail saga on Monday, we've been asking the provider when travellers can expect an upgrade to the trains servicing the Oban and Mallig routes. This comes after the company announced a new intercity fleet last week. ScotRail could not confirm if the West Highland line would receive an upgrade in the future, but the provider did say it plans to upgrade 2/3 of its trains in the next 15 years. And finally, a local grief and death expert has said now is the time to discuss death as a society following the failure of the assisted dying bill last week. Rachel Gwilym, who runs Oban's Death Cafe, says that following the vote, Scotland now knows where it stands and the country can begin discussing end-of-life services more openly. Argyll and Bute MSP Jenny Minto supported the legislation, with Skye, Lochaber and Badenoch MSP Kate Forbes opposing the bill in what was a highly sophisticated and emotionally charged debate.
Thank you, Matt. Let's head to Lochaber. Fee, what news?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but it's certainly not getting any warmer out there with the winter weather still continuing.
It's been horrendous.
Judging by our walk-in this morning, it certainly wasn't.
It's pretty chilly, but here up in Lochaber, everybody's getting a bit hot under the collar, and it's certainly not because they're turning the heating up. As the war in the Middle East approaches its 4th week, we asked community leaders about the effects it was having on residents and businesses here on the West Coast as oil and fuel charges soar. You can read what they had to say in this week's paper and online at www.westcoasttoday.co.uk. Elsewhere, Lochaber High School pupils have been hitting all the right notes with their senior wind band, earning high praise from judges at the 2026 Scottish Concert Band Festival. One such adjudicator enjoyed their performance so much he even stopped writing notes. And over in the sports section, a Fort William paramedic has been flexing his muscles to collect a weighty trophy haul in his first year of competition. You can read all these stories in full and more in this week's Lochaber Times, or why not jump over to www.westcoasttoday.co.uk, where you will find news and features from all our titles here on the West Coast. Back to you, Kathy.
Thanks, Fee. So remember, you can email us your stories and or your pictures. You can call us on 01631 568 000 or send those emails to editor@obantimes.co.uk or editor@lochabertimes.co.uk. You can also pick up printed copies of our papers in the shops, and this podcast is now available on Apple, Spotify or anywhere else you usually get your podcasts from. Just search for the West Coast Today podcast in the service of your choice. You can also reach us on all our social media platforms. So thanks for listening. It's bye from me, Kathy Griffiths.
Bye from me, Sandy Neal.
Bye from me, Owen Wild.
Bye from me, Matt Young.
And goodbye from me, Fiona Scott.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, hey.